Her business trip was a strip club 2,000 miles away. The bank ping hits at 2:13 a.m., $5 to something called StarLight Lounge. She's 2,000 miles away at a biotech conference, right? I Google the merchant ID with one eye open, and there it is. A strip club with a neon mermaid arched like a question mark. My thumb hovers over call. I don't call. At $5, it's either fraud or my wife is committing both kinds. I screenshot, forward it to myself, archive the notification like I'm shelving a grenade. My chest is tight, my brain already negotiating with itself like a hostage taker and a therapist sharing one chair. I'm not blowing up at 2 in the morning. I'm going to build a case. Our normal, her trip, my blind spots. Our life had a rhythm that could lull you to sleep. Coffee at 6, news on low. Our 2 toothbrushes angled like bookends by the sink. She used to tease me about my devotion to the calendar. Color-coded blocks for groceries, workouts, garbage day. We shared passwords because it made bill paying easier, not because either of us was snooping. At least, that's what I told myself. That sentence, at least, was my favorite anesthesia. Conference season was her Super Bowl. She'd line up panels, investor meet and greets, the kind of dinners where dessert is a pitch deck. She'd claim there was no time to chat and then text a blurry elevator selfie with a caption like, running. I admired her drive. I admired how fast she walked through airports, like the moving walkway was too slow for whatever she was building. I also admired not having to ask hard questions. That's its own attachment style, the avoidant kind dressed up as trust. Her pitch for this trip sounded familiar. Keynote panels, investor dinners, back-to-back days so packed she'd probably crash early every night. She said it with that practiced smile, the one she uses when her mom Lydia is on FaceTime and asks whether my wife is dazzling CEOs. Lydia worships her career woman image the way other moms worship grandkids. She collects my wife's conference lanyards in a little bowl on the mantle like medals. If you think I'm exaggerating, I'm not. We spent Thanksgiving once with a QR code centerpiece linking to her latest talk. When she wheeled her carry-on to the door, we did the usual. Kiss, text me when you land. A joke about airport food. Then she paused, patted her bag, and said, "Damn, I forgot my favorite blazer." She shrugged it off. "I'll borrow one. It's fine." She never forgets that blazer. It's like a cape to her. Dark navy, knife-sharp shoulders, exactly the kind of armor she wears when she needs rooms to quiet down. I let it slide because people forget things, and marriages are built on letting small things slide. I pride myself on trust, not tracking. There's a difference, and I wore it like a badge. You don't check a phone because you can. You don't audit a spouse because a commercial told you relationships are teamwork. So when the $5 ping hit that night, I did what a trusting person does. I rationalized. Fraud happens. Thieves test cards with cheap stuff before they go big. Merchants get mislabeled. Also, $5 could be anything. A coffee, a tip jar, a parking meter. I talked myself down with the voice I now recognize as a defense attorney begging a hung jury. Cognitive dissonance isn't loud. It's a polite usher steering you back to your seat. Still, I opened notes and created a folder called Trip. Innocent name. The first line was the time of the charge and the merchant. The second was a link to the search result. I told myself it wasn't surveillance, it was documentation. There's a difference, right? Hypervigilance wears a lab coat if you let it. I even laughed at myself and added a grocery reminder under it, so if she ever saw the note, it looked normal. StarLight Lounge, 2:13 a.m. Milk, eggs, basil, a little camouflage for my conscience. Our routine held the next morning. I made coffee. I scrolled the conference hashtag like a dutiful spouse, dropping a heart on a photo of someone's swag bag, scanning backgrounds for a flash of her hair. Her text came in, landed, with a photo of a runway from an airplane window like she'd never seen one before. I sent a thumbs up and a dumb pun about turbulence. She replied with lol and a string of coffee emojis. Normalness is sticky. It coats everything. But the small things kept wobbling. She said the hotel was uptown because that's where the real meetings happen. Later, a casual throwaway. She forgot her charger, borrowing one from another panelist. I told her there's one in her DOP kit. She replied, "I think I left it at home, babe." Then changed the subject to a hilarious investor who confused CRISPR with crypto. It was a good story. It made me forget the detail she tripped over. Lydia called that evening, checking on my girl. I said she was busy. Lydia sighed like a proud coach. These conferences, they eat you alive. But she shines. She always shines. I told her I'd pass along the pep talk. When we hung up, I stood in our quiet kitchen and looked at the calendar with my tidy squares. There was a block labeled her keynote at 2 p.m. the next day. I'd made it when she told me the time. I like knowing when to think of her on stage, when to imagine the click of her heels, the confident cadence she uses when she explains complicated science to people with money. That night, the house felt too broad. The bed was too wide. I found glitter on the nightstand. Not metaphorical, actual glitter from a card her niece made last weekend. It stuck to my finger and wouldn't flick away. I slept badly. I woke hungry. My stomach felt hollow in that specific way stress carves. No appetite, just a buzzing edge. I did the dishes she left, the coffee cups we both pretend washed themselves, and I kept replaying the sentence. I forgot my favorite blazer. It was such a small thing, and yet it clanged. I told myself we were fine. $5 is nothing. Fraud happens. But I didn't delete the note. I added a new line. Don't call at night. Build a case in the daylight. Inciting incident. The $5 charge turns loud. By noon, I'd convinced myself I was being dramatic. Then I looked up the merchant category code. 4 digits that should have said restaurant or bar. It said adult entertainment. No ambiguity, no cute euphemism. Adult entertainment. My ears rang in that way your nervous system throws a blanket over sound. I copied it into the note like I was pinning a butterfly. The wings stopped fluttering. I pulled up Google Street View and dropped the little yellow guy onto the block. The mermaid was there, neon bent into a smirk over blacked out windows. The street looked tired. Potholes, a pawn shop, a shuttered deli with sun-bleached chips in the window. If there's a biotech conference anywhere near that block, it's studying tetanus. She told me her hotel was uptown, half a mile from the convention center, near a park with a sculpture she said she loved. StarLight Lounge wasn't uptown. It was mid-industrial, the kind of nowhere you only visit on purpose. I zoomed out, traced the route from the conference center to the club and back, and felt the map redraw my marriage. I opened the conference app. I had the schedule saved because I'm the kind of husband who likes knowing when to text, "You killed it." I typed her name into the search. No results. I checked the panel title she told me. Nothing. The 2 p.m. keynote block on my calendar looked suddenly like a magic trick where the magician never actually showed up. Her text pinged then, as if on cue. Long day, crashing early, love you. I stared at the 3 words that used to warm me. My chest did that paradox thing, hurt and hope at once. I replied, sleep tight, and put the phone face down, then flipped it back and added that line to the note, save the lie. It's not a lie until you can prove it, I told myself, which is a miserable sentence to think about your wife. Fraud felt unlikely now. The $5 was a wristband. It was a door fee. It was the tester charge before something bigger. I felt my stomach do that elevator drop and I gripped the counter to steady the floor. I didn't want to be the guy who spirals at one data point, so I went looking for more. This is how anxiety puts on a lab coat. It calls itself thorough. Email receipts first. Airline confirmation? There. Hotel booking? There. Names matched, which gave me a minute of relief until I saw the dates were off by a day. She flew in later than she told me, or the hotel started earlier than the flight. Either way, the puzzle had a piece sanded down to fit. Her calendar shared with me was spotless in a way real life isn't. Color blocks for panels and dinners. But when I clicked them, there were no meeting invites attached, no organizer notes, no Zoom links for hybrid sessions. They were floating squares, a collage with glue that hadn't dried. I could hear her voice saying, "It's all happening fast, it's informal," and my own voice saying, "Okay," because that's what I do when she's in motion. Back in the bank app, the timeline showed the $5 charge nestled between a tiny test charge and an Uber I hadn't noticed at first. The test charge was 1 cent, refunded instantly. The Uber was 12 minutes later, in a city she told me she'd barely left the hotel in. I exported the statement to CSV like I'm my own accountant and highlighted anomalies in yellow. It felt clinical and gross at the same time. If it was fraud, calling the club would clear it up. I rehearsed the call in my head like I rehearse apologies 3 times before I actually did it. "StarLight, what's up?" a man's voice said, bored enough to be honest. I dropped my voice half an octave for authority I didn't feel. "I'm the card holder. There's a $5 charge and a 1 cent test on my statement at 2:13 a.m. Is that yours?" "Yeah, wristbands are $5. We do a 1 cent pre-oath sometimes," he said, like he was reading the weather. "Cash bar inside." "Do you require the card to be present?" I asked, like I was new to Earth. "Nah, they tap, they swipe, they Apple Pay at the door. You good?" My mouth went dry. "I'm good." I wasn't. I thanked the bouncer like he'd handed me a glass of water, hung up, and added his exact words to the note. "Wristbands are $5. Cash bar inside." That was the moment curiosity turned into duty. I felt something cold settle over the impulse to explain this away. I wasn't chasing a feeling. I was verifying a story. The map, the category code, the absent panel, the Uber, the bored man who'd seen 1,000 people not blink. I closed my eyes and pictured the mermaid sign buzzing in the dark, the kind of light that makes everything look cheaper than it is. I didn't call her. I didn't accuse. I made a sandwich I couldn't taste and chewed it because the body asks for normal even when the mind is inventorying a crime scene. Then I opened a new note page inside the folder and titled it simply, Proof. First investigation pass. Breadcrumbs and denials. I started with what I could pull without asking anyone for permission. Airline email, hotel confirmation, car reservations, every breadcrumb we all leave while pretending we're mysterious. Gathering soothed the shaking animal under my ribs. Her airline receipt was clean. Name, seat, departure. I checked the timestamp like a jeweler with a loop. The flight landed at 10:04 p.m. local. The hotel confirmation, though, started the folio a day earlier than she'd told me. Not a huge deal, unless you care about the way numbers line up. I care. I forwarded both to my own email with the subject, Date Drift. Her calendar blocks felt like cardboard props. When I clicked the investor dinner at 7 p.m., there was no guest list, no restaurant name, just an orange rectangle floating in a white sea. I opened the metadata on the calendar export. Yes, I'm that person now. And saw all the entries created within the same 20-minute window the night before she left. No invitations attached. A mural painted in a hurry. Back to the bank. The 1 cent pre-oath at 2 hours, 12 minutes, and 41 seconds. The $5 at 2 hours, 13 minutes, and 5 seconds. The Uber at 2:25. I hadn't noticed the Uber because it coded under a generic descriptor, but when I tapped through, the ride ID opened a help page in-app. I couldn't see the route, but I could see the duration, 9 minutes. 9 minutes from a door with a neon mermaid to somewhere you go when you don't want to be seen still wearing a wristband. I added it to proof and then to the paper copy I'd started because screens felt too slippery. Yellow highlighter. My hand shook once, then not again. I called the hotel front desk, defaulting to my polite voice that gets results. My wife accidentally tossed the folio email from last night. Could you resend the itemized? Of course, the clerk said, clicking keys. What's the last name? He sent it without fuss. The folio showed minibar at 1:37 a.m., 2 charges spaced 10 minutes apart. I pictured tiny bottles and rationalized again. Maybe she couldn't sleep, maybe turbulence. Then I noticed the room service delivery at 6:50 p.m. to room 1214. She told me 151 in a quick text when she said the view was decent. People mistype. People also lie because numbers are boring until they're evidence. I called my bank's fraud line just to hear someone human say what I was already thinking. Card present or not? I asked. The agent said the pre-oath and charge pattern looked like contactless. Was your card with you? No. Do you share access to your wallet? Yes. Could be her, he said, as gently as a stranger can. I thanked him for not performing hope. Then I did the thing you do when you want to be wrong. I called the club again. Different voice. Do you stamp hands or just wristbands? I asked like a tourist. Wristbands only, she said. They're 5, cash bar inside. Do they glow? I asked, hating myself. They're green on weekends, purple weeknights. Green, like that fleck of something I'd brushed from my car seat 2 trips ago and thought was from her niece's craft supplies. I wrote, green on weekends. I opened Gmail and searched for Uber, Lyft, and her email variations. A receipt popped up from months ago where she'd forwarded me a promo code. Inside the thread, there was a newer message. It wasn't from Uber. It was someone named C sending a photo of a car door sticker that said Caleb's Auto. No message, just the photo and a timestamp during a board dinner on her calendar. I reverse searched the number. A small garage 2 states over. I stared at the line on my note that still read, she never turns off Find My, except she had. It gave me that tiny void where trust used to sit. I called the garage during lunch. A woman answered, friendly, tired. Caleb's at the shop. Try later, she said. Who's calling? Old friend, I lied, which tasted sour. Tell him I called. I needed an anchor point, so I pulled the photo she'd sent last. Night of room service fries. I saved it and checked the metadata. The timestamp didn't match the local time she claimed. It was off by an hour in the wrong direction. The hotel plateware didn't match either, not the same rim pattern the Folios showed in their marketing photos. I would not have noticed that a year ago. Now the world was made of rims and patterns and misaligned minutes. Hyperfocus is a trauma trick. Make the world small enough and you can survive inside it. I texted her something harmless. How's your morning? Did you crush the run-through? She replied 3 minutes later. Total chaos. Lost my charger. Borrowed one. The same story, again. I typed, checked the DOP kit, deleted it, and sent a heart. Then I opened Apple Pay in our shared family wallet. At 2:06 a.m. local, there was a kiosk charge for travel essentials in a terminal she'd supposedly left hours before. Maybe the bar by baggage claim sells chargers to ghosts. I debated calling her mom. I wanted a parent to tell me I was overreacting. Instead, I called my brother-in-law, Javier, a habitual oversharer with a talent for stepping on rakes. She's out there making the family proud, he said. Lydia says she's basically the Beyoncé of biotech. Yeah, I said. You see her story? He hadn't. I let the silence make its shape. He filled it with, she works hard, man. Then we both bailed from the call like cowards. At dusk, I printed the CSV and taped it to the kitchen counter like I was building a crime board without the yarn. I drew little arrows. Flight, hotel, pre-oath, $5, Uber. I added a question mark next to the minibar. I called the club for a third time, despising myself and doing it anyway. Do you open tabs? I asked. Nah, doors separate, bars cash. The voice was annoyed this time. Good. Annoyance is honest. I stood in the quiet and felt a decision harden. I was moving from maybe to probably, and probably was enough to warrant the next step. I wasn't going to accuse. I was going to be ready. Deep dive, GPS, metadata, and patterns she forgot. Shared Find My was suddenly not available, which for us was like the porch light being off at noon. She never turned it off. I told myself maybe the app glitched. I toggled my own off and on, watched my dot reappear obediently, then stared at her gray silhouette like it owed me rent. I screenshotted the location not found and tucked it into proof. My thumb hovered over the call button again. I didn't call. I wanted the kind of truth that didn't argue back. Boundary setting starts with shutting up long enough to see what's real. She'd sent a room service picture, a tray, fries, a sweating glass. I saved it to files and cracked open the metadata like a safe. The timestamp read 10:58 p.m., but the embedded time zone wasn't the city she claimed. It tagged an hour off and a region 2 states away. I felt the floor shift under a heel I wasn't wearing. I checked the camera model, the exposure, the GPS tag. The GPS was stripped, but the time zone clung like burrs to a sweater. She'd forgotten to scrub that part. I wrote, metadata, TZ mismatch. Habit beats lies. I pulled the weather app next. The conference city had rained the last 2 nights, steady and annoying. In her selfie, the window behind her showed a dry street and a purple sky that looked like a sunset you get after heat. I cross-checked a weather archive site. At the moment the photo was taken, her city had drizzle and 48 degrees. The city near Caleb's garage had clear skies and 63. I didn't need a detective show voiceover. The map in my head drew itself. I dug into Gmail like a miner. I searched for Uber trip receipt. Your ride with. Every boring subject line a service uses. Buried in promotions was an automated summary email she'd set up months back, weekly travel digest. One line jumped. Pick up near an airport hotel. Drop at Mariners Row. Not the convention district. I Googled Mariners Row. Bars, budget motels, a tattoo shop with a ship's wheel logo. StarLight sat 3 blocks over like a shameless cousin. The ride was timestamped 12 minutes after the $5 wristband. I printed the email, highlighted the route note, and wrote, Row, not uptown. I checked our iCloud photo stream, the shared album we both forgot existed because we stopped adding brunch pictures after year 2. A photo had synced automatically. A bathroom mirror shot, half her shoulder, a countertop with a faint watermark on the marble, 2 interlocking circles. I reverse image searched hotel vanity shots until I found a match, a chain property by the airport, not the boutique she boasted about. I put both images side by side on my laptop and whispered, there you are, call logs next. I exported her usage from the phone bill portal under my account. 1 number repeated at odd hours over the last 3 trips. I ran it through a reverse lookup and got Caleb's auto again. The calls were brief, sometimes back to back like he missed and
she redialed. People don't call mechanics after midnight. People call lifelines. I drew little dots on my paper sheet, a constellation of times. The cluster sat right where her calendar claimed investor dinner. I went back to the bank aggregator and toggled merchant maps. The $5 flagged a dot at the club's block. Another small charge appeared I'd missed. ATM balance inquiry fee at 2:19 a.m. Then a $60 cash withdrawal at 2:21 from a machine 2 doors down from StarLight. It was the kind of ATM lit like a fish tank. 60 isn't dinner. 60 is singles. I wrote it down without shaking this time. Her pattern used to be early flights, early nights, and captions about being toast. I scrolled through old trips in my notes. Yes, I started keeping these like a nervous archivist. The old receipts lined, airport to hotel to conference center. No detours, no neon. This new pattern was lopsided, heavy at night, empty by day. Her calendar blocks were stacked like cardboard boxes, all labeled but none with anything inside. I checked Apple Maps timelines, that hidden feature that sometimes guesses where you went. Her device hadn't contributed in days, but a stray toggle revealed frequent locations from last month, a cluster near a street with a diner called Mabel's. I clicked the Yelp page. In a review photo, a familiar hand rested on a coffee mug, the chipped nail polish color she wore when she claimed she was letting it breathe. The review date was the same as her board brunch. I didn't save the photo. I saved the link. I wasn't collecting hurt. I was collecting truth. I played the audio she'd sent me of airport noise, 15 seconds of muffled announcements. I ran it through a cheap speech-to-text tool. The city name in the announcement didn't match her flight. It mentioned a connection she never mentioned, a gate that belonged to a different terminal. She'd layered lies like clothes in a carry-on. Thin, light, so many you don't notice until you can't close the zipper. Across all this, one thread pulled tight. She'd forgotten the small stuff. The time zone in a fry photo, the ATM fee, the way her camera app stamped seconds while her calendar blocks floated like balloons, the wristband color note, the Find My, gone gray. Patterns tell on people when pressure makes them sloppy. I sat at the table where we pay bills and plan vacations and put the papers in order. Map, weather, metadata, receipts, call logs. I added a final line to proof. Need a live test while she's gone, not to trap her. To stop gaslighting myself with the hope that a better explanation would arrive if I just waited. I set alarms for moments she'd claimed she'd be on stage, in dinners, in cabs. I wrote simple prompts in my phone. Text here, call now, verify. Not because I wanted to catch her, but because the part of me that believed in our porch light needed to see it flicker, die, and stop pretending the sun was out.
The live test, pings, calls, and a quiet alibi.